Hello, thank you for watching this new episode where we're gonna put some textures and add some objects. First we're gonna do something very important. We didn't set up our working folder where we're gonna save our 3D files and textures, and we didn't set up our layers in 3ds Max. So first we're gonna do the layers. Now we're gonna to able to save, because you can see like the title changed to Untilted Recover because 3ds Max crashed at some point. So first we're gonna save. So you need to wherever you want on your PC, like just I have it enter. I'm gonna just set up like a working file here. I'm gonna call it test track, and here I'm gonna create a folder named textures. There we are. So I'm gonna save here on the test track. Test track T1. So that's important. Now we're gonna use the layer. So it's kind of important when you're making a track to use the layers, not having all on one layer. It's when you have a lot of objects on your track, you can separate what you can see really easily. So I'm gonna create a layer for the grass, and I'm gonna put the grass on it. I'm gonna put a layer for the curves, a layer for the road. At some point later, sorry. For the pit. Because when you have a lot of object, to the right place, it's really nice to be able to like freeze stuff that you don't want to move accidentally, and only work on having only activate or visible. Like I'm gonna make the grass invisible if I only want to work on the road, or if you have performance issue, it's really a good thing to work. Always using layers and having a hierarchy into the layer. It's really useful when you're gonna have a track with like a lot of object in it, and even if you have a track with several layouts, you can have everything under the same max file and everything easy to access and to mask or hide or freeze by just one click on the layer that you want to freeze or hide. It's really useful. So I'm going to save. So now we are going to make our textures. Very simple texture. Why we are making textures is because the Assetto Corsa editors want materials with texture. Like you can have like a material without texture, you're gonna have an error. So we're gonna make texture, apply them, very easy, simple texture. Here we are. We're gonna have like, always use a power of 2 for your texture. You can have like 248 by 124, 124 by 124, but always use like a power of 2. So for the grass, we're gonna use like You can use picture of grass, of course, this is what we will do later. But now I'm gonna do really something very simple, just for the sake of it. Cloud. I like to use the cloud thing because it automatically makes a tilling pattern. So like the right stuff tilts with the left and down with up. It's really good. I'm just gonna add some little bit of noise. Here we are. So I'm gonna save it as a PSD. So I'm gonna go, this is not, yeah, textures. So I'm gonna use the prefix D because it's the diffuse map, because often like a material will have multiple texture on it. So if you're making a diffuse map, it's nice to have everything in order. So I use the prefix D, and it's gonna be grass 01. It's very nice to number too, underscore number, because maybe I'm gonna have different grass texture, and it's easier to have grass 1, grass 2, grass 3 than sometimes if you keep it like under 10 number, you can remember that the grass 5 is the light one, because after you're gonna have like complicated name like grass light, grass dark, dark but for that object, and so you never know how many kind of texture of the same kind you're gonna make. So it's nice to have it like number from the first one. Maybe I'm gonna have a D grass 2 later. So, and now we're gonna save it again, but this time, since we installed the DDS plugin, we're gonna save it as a .dds. GXTX 5, because it's the easier thing to have like RGB with alpha. It's gonna automatically make the MIP maps. If you don't know what MIP maps are, you can check it, like you will find a video, but you don't need to care right now for it. Have the generate MIP map ticked. You can save. Did I press saved? Did I press save? Yeah, I saved it. Okay. I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna make a new one. I'm gonna kind of make the same, but for the walls. So I'm gonna have some concrete walls. I didn't like make the mesh for the walls, but we will make one. So I'm gonna make a really fast texture. Once again, some noise. It's fine. So that's the concrete one. If you're using like normal map, you're gonna call it N concrete if you're making the normal map from the concrete texture. And save it again as a DDS. Can close it. We're gonna need a road texture. So the road one is gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna make like a 4K by 124. It's not a lot, but it's enough for test track. So So exactly the same thing actually, we're gonna have like that little cloudy things, maybe blur it a little bit. Oh. Okay, then have a noise added to it, stronger. When you use a noise filter, always go 100% to see the result. Here we are. I'm just gonna make it darker overall. Here we are. I'm gonna, for the sake of it, make a white line on top of it. Because a racetrack is always prettier with white lines, and those lines are actually way too big, so I'm just gonna cut it here, cut it here. Very basic texture. I will show you later in other video how to make nice texture, I promise. So the mark 01, and we're gonna save it as a DDS tool. The bigger the texture, the longer the save to DDS is. When you're saving a 8K by 8K, it can be like, it can take like 30-35 seconds, even on a powerful computer. What are we missing? The curbs, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna do something really easy for the curb. Very something stupid, but so I can close that. I'm gonna make 256 here, like that. Really basic stuff. I'm gonna make those red and white thing, just to have some textures on it, a little bit. Really basic stuff. Save it. So, curves. One. Save it then as a DDS. Got it. Here we are. So we're gonna start with the grass. You press M to have the material editor. If it show up as a, I'm using like the compact material editor. If you're using like the nodal slate material editor, it's the same thing. I'm just old school, so for easy thing I'm just stick with the normal material editor. So I'm gonna name my material, so it's gonna be grass 01. In the diffuse, I'm just gonna go to map directly. So in the diffuse color, use bitmap and go to my texture folder, and I'm gonna use the DDS file. So we're gonna use like extra large icon, maybe large is good enough, grass.dds, open. 3ds Max understands grass DDS file really nicely, don't worry. So then I'm gonna say show the, we're gonna apply it to the grass here as in material, and we're gonna say show me in the viewport. So we can see that the mapping, UV mapping, is completely fucked up, so the texture is kind of ugly. The way it's, we're gonna make a very fast UV map. So I have personalized here my modifier list, so I have like quick access, but you will find the UV map here. So what is it doing? Like it's stretching the whole texture on the whole object by default. So I want a planar mapping, but I don't want it to be that size. I think like my textures is 2 meters by 2 meters, and not 2 meters, maybe more. I can make it 10 meters. Here we are. We have grass. If I zoom, here we are. Then we're gonna make the curves. So get a new material. It's gonna be curves 1. Map, diffuse, and use curves TDS. I'm gonna select that, apply it, and show me the texture. Once again, we have like, it's not showing and it's like completely distorted because the UV are fucked. It's normal. What we're gonna make still a UVW map. Take it in the list. But this time I'm gonna choose by face. So for each face, each polygon, it put the entire texture on each polygon, and it suits me because we can see that my texture is kind of the same size as one of the poly. The only problem is that it's not oriented in the right direction. You can see. So I'm just looking at it's everywhere the same problem, and we're gonna change it. Really easy. So we're gonna collapse the UV map with the face selected, and then we're gonna do unwrap. Open the UV editor, and the only problem we had, I'm showing here the curves. The only problem we had is it's not in the right direction. So I'm just to go back to that checker to have a ratio and activate the angle snap, so I can make an easy 90 degrees. Now if I go back to my texture, isn't it nice and easy? As I said, here we are. Now, more complicated. We're gonna make the road a little bit more complicated. Little bit. I'm gonna make. I already make a video to explain how to do that. If you go on my channel. So, map. Diffuse. Bitmap. Tarmac. Apply it to the road. Show it. You can see it's kind of fucked up too. What we want is like the texture to repeat along all the polys of the polygons of the road. So to do that, we're gonna use a spline. We're gonna say to the texture, follow a spline and follow the road to apply yourself. It's really easy. So we're gonna use to create the spline. We're gonna use the mesh. So you go into edge, select an edge, and by pressing shift, you're selecting the whole ring. Then you turn that ring into. Sorry, I need more space. Turn it into a spline. Where it is? Sorry, I'm used to like create shape from selection. So we're gonna bring road shape. Okay, it's just helper. So as we can see, we have a spline here. And we're gonna use it to map the texture. So on the road, you select it, you add unwrap, so it's also another list modifier, unwrap. You open the UV editor. Oh, it's already kind of already unwrapped, which is nice, but not the way we want. But we're gonna restart it over. Usually you should have something that looks like that on the first unwrap. It's actually not what we want, because the texture is like that and we want it to repeat all along the road. So what we're gonna do is select all the polys with Ctrl A and say we want a spline mapping. So we pick the spline here and we say it's planar, not circular. Here we are. What we have here is the whole road stretch. So first we're gonna make it in the align with the texture. Then what we want is to remove those, because I think our track is getting narrower and wider at some point. So this is why we have those lines. So we're gonna straight them. So you select here, tack. So the texture is evenly applied to the track. Those parts, they are the those little bumps to enter into the pits. And this is where we have the junction on our UV mapping. So it looks complicated, but it's really not here. It is not. So what we're gonna do is now stretch everything And slowly we're gonna see the texture being applied equally. Still a little bit stretch, and it's stretched no more. Here we have the track unfold along there. So now we need to not going to do it full screen. I'm doing it like 30. But once again, it will be enough for the purpose of this first tutorial. Maybe I'm already making it overly complicated. I don't know. You tell me. So now we have the texture of the road along the track. Maybe I need to stretch it a little bit more. Better. I'm gonna collapse it. Here we are. So I'm gonna quickly do the same for the bits. Apply the material. I'm gonna look what the end wrap looks. Maybe this one. I'm just gonna make a planar projection. Let them normalize. Here we are. Then I'm gonna straighten everything. I forgot one. Creating one. Okay. I'll reduce the size of this to adjust to the texture so the tiling works. Select texture to display it. So this is way too stretched. I need to reduce the size horizontally. To reduce, I'm using like the scale tip by holding shift. You're doing only on one axis. I forget to tell. Here we are. Collapse. Here it is. Really easy, fast step. Now we're gonna make the walls, and we will be done for the 3D part. So I'm gonna start from the grass, select the borders. Here we are, and by holding shift, sorry, I need to remove the snap. Here I'm making walls, and I'm gonna select them with holding shift selecting the whole ring. Yeah. I detach. This one's gonna be one wall. We didn't specify the physical property of wall, but this is like a standard thing with the Assetto Corsa engine, so don't worry about that. Main wall. See. We're gonna create a material for the wall with a wall texture, concrete. I need to select the new wall object, apply it to it, show it, and we're gonna use like a really cheap and dirty box with like 10 meters for the texture on all axes, and it's gonna repeat automatically everywhere. Here we are. We have everything we need graphically and to ride our car. Now we need to add some different object that we call like dummies. It's gonna be to have the start line, the pit and grid position, and stuff like that. See you in the next video.